Hey there, Middle Earth Strategy Battle Gamers. So today we're going to be doing a quick video. We're going to be going back to this format. Um, Go and leave your comments and feedback in the comments below. I want to know what you guys think about this type of format. I personally think it's a little bit better for discussing and things. You guys get to see some pictures of some of our paint jobs and games we've had. So today I'm going to be discussing Gondor at War. So Gondor at War is set to come out later this month. It's actually the book that I've been looking forward to the most. And the reason for that is because I really want to see new profiles, new stuff. Like I knew that the Lord of the Rings. I didn't know at first, and then I kind of gathered the information that the armies of the Lord of the Rings were not going to have any new profiles in it. Same thing with the armies of the Hobbit. So this book to me is what I've been looking forward to since the game like relaunched. I want new profiles, new scenarios, that kind of thing. So that aspect I'm looking forward to quite a lot. So I've been doing some thinking though on what we're going to be seeing. Um, so as many of you know, when the There and Back Again book came out, I think the Middle Earth team said that this was going to be everything that was in the movie that didn't have a profile as of then. So for instance, we got the Troll Brute, we got Trebuchet Troll, we got Iron Hill's Chariot, Iron Hill's things that were in the extended scenes as well as the regular. There wasn't an Iron Hill's army at that time. So what uh, I'm expecting this book is everything that was in the Battle of the Pelennor in the book and in the movie that never got a profile. Um, so I expect, well, first off, here in the tall, Iloris, I believe is his name, Ingold, are three guys that were in the book and in the movie that were fighting for Gondor that never got a profile. So that's just kind of an example. I expect that we'll get a profile for Elfhelm. I expect that we'll get several more fiefdoms characters. Perhaps we'll get a Dernhelm profile because we have an Eowyn profile, and she has her helmet off. But maybe we'll get a Dernhelm profile. They'll have a new special rule. Um, so here's one of the things that I'm also expecting to see a profile for, possibly, is siege weapons. So we've only ever had one kind of battering ram, which was the Isengard battering ram. I actually think we might see a Grand. Um, we also might see a Minas Tirith. Now this part is I'm not necessarily I'm almost certain we'll see Grand. I'm pretty sure on that. Minas Tirith, we'll either see a gatehouse or some sort of Gondor terrain. But in terms of like actual gameplay, they need to have a gate. For the scenarios, they're probably gonna have scenarios with Grand in it. We'll need to have a sort of gatehouse or something like that. So they either are gonna make a new Minas Tirith gate, maybe bring back the old one. That's total speculative though. I'm not really sure myself. But that'd be pretty cool if we did see that. Um, so you just gotta kind of think what models don't have profiles. So um, Gothmog's Enforcer and Guritz are also two models that got profiles. Um, I believe it's been confirmed that we'll see profiles for. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but they were talking about Corsairs, and we're going to see profiles for Easterlings and that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, this is my favorite part in the book and in the movie is the whole siege of Minas Tirith and that battle ensuing. So I'm thinking we'll see probably all the main factions will get a new profile or a legendary legion, which is going to be specific models, heroes. I think in general, just heroes, maybe troops. I'm not really sure on how that's going to work. And we're going to be seeing these legendary legions, which I'm looking forward to because since the um, new armies of Lord of the Rings come out, there have been so many people saying, well, why can't I take this with this army, or why can't I take this with this army because they were together in the book and the movie. For instance, Eldon Elrahir being with Great Company or the Rangers, or the Three Hunters with Dunharrow. So I think we'll see that kind of looked at with these legendary legions. So there can be different army bonuses for that. Another thing that I think we're going to see with this is the more terrain. Now I've talked about the Gate of Minas Tirith, but I actually think we're going to see more types of terrain. Plastic kits probably. I know that the Lake Town was released and it was a huge success, and I almost expect a Gondor terrain, maybe some Gondor buildings. It'd be kind of nice if we saw some terrain that wasn't ruins, because we've always had the ruins of Osgiliath and ruins of Middle Earth. It'd be kind of cool if we saw something that wasn't in ruins, some kind of structure, building that could be a multi-piece kit. Something that I think would be really cool to see. Um, so I think that the terrain aspect is gonna be pretty cool. There's just so many options they can really use to make this expansion to the game really stand out. Um, which I think their plan, or like something I would think of doing at least, would be to look at all the aspects of the game they could expand on. So the Pelennor, of course, there's about every army in the game that is in the Lord of the Rings era was in the Battle of Pelennor, with an exception of a few. Um, they could really look at characters and profiles and things like that they can make new or expand on. So, for instance, there were a ton of fiefdoms that were never given profiles that I think they could really expand on that. They could maybe even add some fiefdoms terrain. They can make going back to terrain. They can make beacon terrain. Like the when Pippin crawls up there and lights the beacon, they can give that a little scenario in the book. So I'm thinking that we'll see quite a bit of things like that. And real quick, I'd like to go back on the legendary legions. Basically, that's going to be so I think they mentioned Mordor, and they said that you can take this Gothmog's Legion, I think's the name of it, and you get buffs for some of the rules and the army bonus or something like that, but you can't take a ring wraith. So there's going to be a choice basically. You can get one hero buffed up and he buffs your troops a lot, but you can't take this. I know ring wraiths in the past have been one of the more competitive pieces, so it's giving players a choice, and I think that I'm excited to see how that plays out in a kind of a tournament setting. And they said that they've play tested these things for match played, which I think is a really neat idea, and I think that it's gonna be pretty cool. I think, for instance, everyone knows who watches this channel probably that I love Rohan. I know they're gonna have a Pelennor style Legions of Theoden or whatever, and who knows what that's gonna be, because they already get a ton of buffs when they charge and when they're around Theoden, so getting even more, that's gonna be pretty epic, and I can't wait to see what they do with that. I'm also interested to see what they do with Gondor, because they said that this supplement is going to cover from the Battle of Osgiliath to the Black Gate, so they might be giving a Legions of Aragorn or Legions of Alisar or something like that kind of rule. I don't know right now, because like there's certain things that are in the army book that feel like they're missing, but it's almost intentionally, and I think that's something they can expand on. So real quick, going into Aragorn, talking about Aragorn, they also announced at the Warhammer World Open Day or something like that, they announced the new plastic kit coming out, the 300s. So at Nova Open, I was fortunate enough to sit in on one of the Q&As they have, excuse me, with the Warhammer team, and so they talked about their strategy with these plastic kits is to make really familiar characters that that new players, and I think it's intended for newer players, they go into a Games Workshop or they go into their local gaming store and they see these 300s and they recognize it. So it gets them into the game that way. So personally, I'm probably for sure going to get this set. Not only is Legolas my favorite character, Aragorn is Dan's favorite character, but these guys look awesome. I mean, the Aragorn, I think in his ranger getup looks light years over any other Aragorn ranger we've had in terms of the detail. Um, so like he has Anduril. It's never been clear if any of the other Ranger Aragorn models have Anduril in their hand. The van braces, detail on his van braces is really cool. Legolas, I like his pose. I like his armor. The only thing I don't like necessarily is his face. It could be the paint job or the angle. Gimli looks awesome. That's probably the best Gimli model that we've had. So I wanted to cover that real quick because I'm trying to keep everyone up. Some people might not be on the forums and stuff, and if they watch our channel, this way it keeps everyone up to date. I wasn't expecting a 300s, but I'm glad they're getting us one. Right now that the selection for these three models is kind of slim on the web store. So yeah, we're gonna be seeing that. So real quick, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna say if you guys can count the models in this picture, then you get a high five from me. This was a one of the first practice games I did, and it was the Hobbits, the Shire versus Goblin Town. It didn't go well for the Shire, but it was we did 1,000 points versus 2,000 points at Goblin Town because I had a teammate, Jason, who's been on the channel, and it was a ton of models on the table. And the Hobbits got massacred because he outfought me and was able to stack dice against me. So real quick, just some kind of funny, cool picture. So yeah, if you can count the amount of models on this table, then you get a high five. But so yeah, so the 300s though, I think the intent of all the plastic models is to get newer players in. I think the veterans of the game, people that have been playing a long time, are going to probably have to wait to see some of the resin kits, some of the new profiles, things like that, with the actual book. So I think that's the intent. I think it's a wise. If I was in charge, I'd be looking to do something similar. Use nostalgia and use the familiar to get new players in, because that's ultimately what the game is now. And you gotta think, when the game was first coming out, was when the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out. They didn't really have that now to fall on. So having a way to use the original movies to get some of the people in that are familiar with it, I think it's a pretty good idea, personally. Um, so, but I'm gonna go back to Gondor. Sorry, I had to go way off topic and talk about the 300s because the way I got my pictures lined up and stuff like that, and I'm talking about my bad game I have with the Hobbits. But the thing about Gondor, and I think some armies felt like they were missing certain things, and I think it's intentional. For instance, the wording in the Númenórean section has an Aryan in it. It's intentional. I think they wrote this book. The Army was the Lord of the Rings, to be exact. I think they wrote that book with the intention of knowing when things are coming out. So I think we're going to be seeing in Gondor War, we're going to be seeing Gondor being fully fleshed out. I think Rohan's already pretty well fleshed out. I don't think they're not going to be getting the characters and the things that Gondor and Fiefdoms may. Although Fiefdoms also, their stuff feels pretty well fleshed out, but Gondor specifically. So I think you're gonna have to choose. Personally, I think this is how it's gonna be. You're gonna have to pick if you take Aragorn or if you take Denethor. I think they're both gonna have bonuses. I think they'll have the same army bonus now. I don't know if they're gonna have two separate legendary legions. I have a feeling they might, and based on that, that's kind of how the army's gonna be played. So I'm gonna guess you can't take Boromir with Aragorn. So Boromir will have to be taken with a Legion of Denethor, and he may even have his own legion. Legion of Denethor may give you access to Iloris and Ingold. Iloris and Ingold may not be in a legion of Elisar. I have a feeling Huron will fit into both, because I think Huron is mentioned several times after the Battle of Pelennor. I think he was the steward. I think. Don't quote me on that. At one point, but I think it's gonna be interesting. All these new changes and things that come out. I think Mordor, the way Mordor is gonna be played as well, is gonna change. Gothmog, he got quite a few new rules in the armies of Lord of the Rings. I haven't versed at Gothmog yet. I had Verse in the old edition, and he was good, but he wasn't scary enough in that old edition. This one, especially since I predominantly play armies of men who he buffs against men, he becomes more and more scary. So I think depending on, I don't know if they're going to be playing with profiles. I don't think they will be changing profiles from like LSR and stuff, but I do think they'll be adding buffs and bonuses if you use these models. That's just something I'm kind of speculating. For instance, I think they did in the they had a Twitch stream. They're talking about this. I don't remember, but they said some of the 300s are going to be able to be used in Dunharrow, which is why they're having this 300s kit. So we're going to be seeing Dunharrow with the 300s, and they may or may not be getting certain buffs. We know that the king that will probably have Harbinger of Evil, so who knows what all 300s will add and get to that legion. It's actually a pretty interesting one. I'm not sure because I'm not in other game systems like Warhammer 40k and things like that. They had Legion system where you take a pre-built army. So I'm not sure if they're gonna do that or if they're gonna um, have it where you can take, let's just say for instance for Gondor, you can take Denethor, and then that automatically puts you in a Denethor Legion where you have access to kind of the Horde heroes. So maybe in a way, if you play Denethor, then you're opting to take a Horde Gondor. If you take Elisar, you're opting to get different bonuses and different heroes. Like Gandalf may be in a Denethor's Legion, he may not be in a Elisar Legion. This is all 100% kind of speculation. It's just fun. Basically, it's part of the hobby to speculate before new books and stuff. Um, I personally think that we will be seeing stuff like that. I really do. I think they're gonna have kind of, so. For instance, also we know that a Gothmog's Legion, you're forced not to take a Ring Wraith. So there's also gonna be several ways to play Mordor. I don't know, like other armies like Harad and Corsairs and Rohan and Fiefdoms and Khand and Easterling. They haven't been mentioned as much, but you gotta think Gondor and Mordor are the two kind of superpowers, the two main armies in this book. When I think of this, I think of Gondor and Mordor, and that's why I think these two will be getting the most attention um, in terms of models, army bonuses, um, things like that. I've seen some people speculate that we'll be seeing perhaps new Minas Tirith models, um, like veterans, Osculis veterans, and plastic and things like that. That'd be pretty cool. I'm really all in on whatever they do, as long as it's like cool models, new models, that kind of thing. That's really all I care about personally. Um, I do think that maybe someday we'll see some fight for Knights of Minas Tirith with this edition. Like I said, I think that we'll be seeing a truly fleshed out Gondor and Mordor in this book. I think that was the intent. I think that they've been doing a lot of rules writing, and Huron and Ingold and the Warmumok guy all came out last year before the book did. So I have a feeling they've been working on this stuff for a while, so it's all going to come together. Well, anyway, guys, this is just basically a quick rant or discussion, if you will, on the stuff come out, my excitement being involved, and if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and comment.